All right, everybody. Welcome to year 4. So this is our 4th year for the Texas Teams community. And we have been going strong for 4 years now. And we were just talking about the fact that the first 2 meetings were in person. And in fact, the second meeting, we just had a technology breakdown. We decided to switch rooms just a few minutes before the meeting, which was a big mistake and a rookie move. Um, and we were having camera problems, and it was a hot mess. And Joy Hall Bryant was helping me arrange equipment and get the cameras working and everything. And I'm super grateful to have all of you here, and I'm grateful to be able to go into our 4th year with the Texas Teams community. And I'm also super grateful to Mark and the DIR for their stalwart, is that the right word? Their steadfast partnership and support of Texas Teams community. So thanks, Mark.
You are welcome. Thanks for putting it on. Congrats for 4 years.
Yeah, I think this is one of the longer running communities. Congratulations to all of us. So we have a really cool agenda today. And so we're going to kick off our 4th year. And as you all know, we have
Michael,
yeah,
there's background chatter somewhere.
thank you for letting me know. Let me look at. Someone has their mute off accidentally. They may have already taken care of it. I don't see anybody. Oh, there we go. And Star, your mic's hot, but that's because you were just helping me. All right, I think someone took care of it. Okay.
I don't hear it anymore. Thank you.
I don't either. Yeah, thanks, Sandra.
Sorry.
And so yeah, each year we come up with a theme for the Texas Teams community, and I always have fun thinking about what we're going to do, and so we're going to do that this year. And then we have Microsoft Approvals training, which is an approval system that is built right into Teams that you can use. And then we're going to have an open discussion. And so if y'all are using approvals already, I would love to hear about ways that you are using it. I know that some of you have been using Power Automate, and approvals can be an integral part of that. So as always, if your teammates are interested in joining the community, then you can send them to this URL. It's listed in the monthly recurring meeting, and so you can just go to this and sign up, and then I'll add them to the meeting. I know that some people have asked to be removed from the meeting, and I have a hard time. There's like 500 people in the meeting request, and it's really hard to find an email address out of 500. So please be patient with me. Just let me know, hey, I would really like to be removed, if you would. But you can also express your desire to be removed on that community interest list. So if we go back in the Wayback Machine, so the first year we were just the Texas Teams community, and so. But the second year, as we kicked it off, which was 2021, we talked about we used a Back to the Future theme, and I had this car, which you guys all had recognized as the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And then what I said at the time was, Teams isn't a time machine per se. I can't claim that, but at the time we were all just really leaning into Teams. And I think at the point, I think we had like maybe 70,000 users of Teams, and we're all the way up to like 110 or 115,000 users of Teams now in the state of Texas. So look, we're at like 85% of state employees use Teams on an active basis, on a monthly basis. And so the first year, our theme was roads, where we're going, we don't need any roads. And I got a t-shirt for that year. And then the next year, I took one of my favorite bands is the Black Eyed Peas. And so for 2022, our theme was really about one tribe, meaning all of us using Microsoft Teams and the whole state coming together as a group using Teams, both for our internal meetings with our own agencies, as well as meetings with other agencies and with us, with Microsoft, as well as with our constituents and helping our customers. And so, and then we were also adding new capabilities into Teams. And so the theme for 2022 was one tribe with more cowbell. And so because there was like a sort of a peace and love theme with one tribe with more cowbell, I wore this shirt that year. And so I had my peace and love shirt for that year. And this year, as I was thinking about what could we do, like what is it that's really going on with Teams here? And you'll notice that little open AI logo. You guys might have heard of Chat GPT and Dolly, which Microsoft's been investing in integrating into our platforms and technologies. A lot more to come on that very soon. But when we use Teams and when y'all use Teams, you're able to leap across mountains of manual forms and paperwork that we used to use in manual processes and just crush those manual processes using Teams. And we're going to talk some about that today with approvals. You're able to cut through red tape, the red tape of bureaucracy and things that were just impossible before. My good friend, Brian Francis, who is a former executive director for TDLR, he talks about that y'all have already done the impossible. I mean, it was impossible that we would all go from working at our offices to working at home and just rock it. And so y'all have cut through red tape, and you continue to cut through red tape and find new ways. Yes, the new executive director for the Sunset Commission. I'm so happy for him. He's just too brilliant and too amazing to be sitting on the sidelines. So I'm super happy to hear him back into the game. And finally, y'all, the people who really support and embrace and lean in to Teams, you guys lift your whole agency up because you support your agency in leveraging modern work practices, modern technologies to really streamline your work. And so y'all are the Texas Teams superheroes. And so our theme for this year is y'all are the Texas Teams superheroes. And what we're going to focus on this year is all of the ways that we can use Teams as a platform to really streamline our business processes. And so we spent quite a bit of time last month, not quite a bit of time, but some time at the end talking about things that we could talk about. And one of the things we talked about was automations and integrations. And so we're going to dig into that in just a little bit. But that's our theme for this year is the Texas Teams superheroes and the way y'all are all leaping over paperwork, leaping over manual processes, cutting red tape, and lifting up your organizations to make all of the organizations better and all of us better serving our constituents, the state of Texas. So one of the things that we have spoken about, yeah, right, thank you for the applause there. One of the things that we have spoken about quite a bit in the past is end user training on our platform. And so we have the Texas Teams community to talk about some latest things to share, but the ability to train our end users where they're working is a really important part of that. And I got some very sad, and I will say quite upsetting news today. Many of you have taken advantage of our customer success training program. In fact, just last month, we had Donnie Severson with our customer success training program on talking about the latest classes that are available. So I am very sad to say that someone way up in our organization made the decision that we were going to discontinue the customer success training program. Like I said, it's not a decision I agree with, but nobody asked me. I was surprised. No one called me and said, "Hey, Michael, what do you think about this?" They usually do. And so, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to really lean into the ways that we can bring on-demand training to your users at the time of need and where they work. And so there are two different platforms that we can use to do that. The first, for our customers that are in GCC, which the vast majority of you are, a GCC means Government Community Cloud, so a government tenant. We have a great platform that runs in your SharePoint environment called Learning Pathways. And it's discontinued for Teams or all products. All products. Are you talking about the customer success training? Yeah, it's discontinued for all the products. In fact, they are disbanding that whole team. And so they'll be finding new positions inside of Microsoft. And if you are a organization that has a training department and you need good trainers, there are some great trainers that are going to be available for hire. And so if you are looking for somebody, then I cannot really recommend any hire the CST team. So reach out to me personally if you have a need for someone to help you in your training department, and I'd be happy to make introductions. Yeah, the links are live. So this is using PowerPoint Live. And so the Learning Pathways site, it goes into SharePoint, and it has what happens is Microsoft creates the content that is in the Learning Pathways site, but then you host it and you can control which trainings are available. Like, let's just say you haven't rolled out Power BI and you don't want Power BI training available, then you can turn that off. Or let's say you want to use Excel training, but for some reason you don't want to allow people to use do the pivot table training, then you can just turn off that one training. And then you can also add your own content into the site. That can be content you've created. It can be links to YouTube videos, and you can even create like what we call learning pathways. So let's say you have and I'll just use an example. Welcome to TDLR and your first week, and you have different training that people do during their first week and things that they need to do. And so you could set that up. And so it's very, very flexible. And what we're going to do, there's a link here to the information on it and an adoption guide helping you really get the word out about learning pathways. But the best way to get people to use learning pathways is actually to what we call pin it into Teams. So pinning in Teams means putting it as one of the icons on the left rail. This is actually the Texas Health and Human Services Learning Pathway site, and they custom branded it called Let's Learn. Y'all may remember this, those of you who have been coming for a while. They actually presented on this back in January of 2001. They had implemented this, and so you'll recognize the age here. Goodbye Skype and hello Teams. So it was that long ago. But this site is still there. They updated the content just back in August of 2022, so about 4 months old. But so it's not the absolute latest features in Teams, but it's all of the different Microsoft 365 products. And I'm going to be offering kind of a white glove service to help you implement this. And so if you are interested in this, then just put your name in the chat and just say Learning Pathways, I'm interested, and then your name and your email address, and I'll reach out to you. But I'm also just going to be reaching out proactively because we really want to take care of y'all for now that we're not going to have that CST training program. And so the other thing that we have is if you happen to be in a commercial tenant, like some of our customers are, then we have Viva Learning, which is kind of basically the next version of this. And Viva Learning is part of our Viva Employee Experience Platform, EXP, and it is one of the modules that we have. And so Viva Learning will be coming to GCC pretty soon, but it's just not there yet. So more to come on this. And again, I'll be reaching out to help y'all get this implemented in your environment and then pinned to the left rail. We see about a 7x improvement in usage of the learning site when we pin it in Teams, because this is where people are working. They see it, they click it, they're doing something, and they need to learn how to do something different in like Excel or Word or PowerPoint or Power BI or OneNote. And they can just click right there and do the training right there. And they're short little trainings. It's not like an hour-long training. You can put your own training in there that's longer, but this is like little, like just-in-time learning. Okay. Yeah, Star. Okay, great. Yes, you can, the content, it's not totally tailored to GCC. That's a great question. But you can turn off training that would be not something that you don't have. And so we can talk about how you customize it down. And then the other thing that we could do is we can, if we needed to create some custom training that was specific to your organization, then we could do that. And unfortunately, we won't have that CST team to do that. So let's see. All right. So when we talked about some topics at the end of the January Texas Teams community meeting, these are some of the topics that we put down. And so today we are going to be talking about approvals in Teams. And again, if you are already using approvals in Teams, kind of be thinking about maybe some things that you've done with that. And after we kind of go through an overview of it, I'd love to hear about ways that you are using it. Here are some of the other topics. I am planning on next month highlighting some third-party applications that you are already using and ways that we can integrate that right into Teams very simply. We are going to be going live with Adobe Acrobat in Teams for GCC in the next couple of months. So I want us to get ready for that. It just makes, instead of having the default really limited PDF reader in Teams, it will now use the Adobe Acrobat reader or the Adobe reader in Teams. And if you have, if you're a licensed user, then you have all of those capabilities that a licensed user for Adobe Acrobat has right there inside of Teams. So it's really strong. And then I thought we could do Power BI next. There's been a lot of requests for that. And then more on Power Automate, Power Platform. And then some of these ones like the new meeting notes in OneNote and Q&A and SharePoint integration and automations, that could be its own session. But we'll try to combine some of these things and just do some tips on some of these capabilities as we go through the meetings. Absolutely, Power BI and Power Automate. Okay, good. All right. Okay, TWC, yep, okay, great. I'm just quickly scanning the chat here. Yeah, Jennifer Brown, thank you. Y'all have had it, have had learning pathways and, Let's Learn pinned in Teams. And it just makes it super easy to find. And I've been really impressed. Y'all have literally 7,000 plus users of Let's Learn every month. And so this is, it's not one of those things that, they see it at first and it's a novelty and then they end up not using it again. This is something that continues to provide benefit to your users, both new employees as well as existing employees. So, I want to thank well, first I'm going to introduce my friend and my coworker, Minerva Padilla. Minerva is in the same role as me, but she covers a different territory. And we actually had the customer success training team that was going to be presenting on approvals today, and they got the big news. And so they were having internal meetings and were not able to present. And Minerva totally came to my rescue. I put it out in the team chat, help, can anybody present today? And she totally stepped up. So I want to first thank Minerva and then also introduce. So Minerva, if you would introduce yourself to the community, and then the show is yours, and I'll stop sharing.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Minerva Padilla, and like Michael said, I'm his peer. I actually am the customer success manager for Arizona, where I live right now, Colorado, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. So very excited to be here and, part of the Texas community. I'm originally from Texas. I'm from Waco, Texas, and all my family still lives there. So definitely have a big piece of my heart for y'all. But I'm very excited to be here today and be able to talk about, team's approval, and just the simplicity and what you're able to do. I love hearing that there's probably a lot of y'all that have already been utilizing it. So if there's any questions you have as we go along, just because it's just myself, I don't have a moderator with me that I know typically the trainers would have 2 or 3 of them on. I have my phone right here, so I'm gonna try to look at the chat, but you can just raise your hand, Michael, if you wanna, call on people, or if you just wanna come off mute. If you wanna add anything to it, please go ahead and do so. So let me just go ahead and I'll start sharing my screen, and I am going to turn off my camera just to help with bandwidth because I am using our virtual machine as well. So I just want to make sure it's not going to stutter on us.
And I'll keep it on the chat and the raised hands, and I'll just jump right in, Minerva, if someone has a question.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, you can see that I've done. All right, it's trying to get set up for this. So a couple of things that I sort of just want to talk about, I think, again, when we utilize our Teams platform, we want to make it a great experience. We also want to make it very simple. And I think approvals is that thing, how we can keep the simplicity inside and being able to make sure that we're very accurate on work that we're doing, and also we're accomplishing certain projects and tasks that are happening. So this is going to definitely help to streamline all those requests, all the processes that are happening within your team, within partners, or individual. You got to think very broad and also very just minimal of how it can help you. Now, a couple of things that we're going to look at today is we're going to talk, what is an approval hub? Where are the different options that we can do approvals from? I know a lot of times people go to the navigation bar here on the left-hand side, and you'll see that my cursor is a little bit larger and it's the bright lime color, so it's hopefully easier for you to follow. And then we're just going to, again, go through the basic approvals of how we do it. I will just show you like the beginning steps of looking at Power Automate with approvals. But again, that's what's great about Microsoft when we look at Power Applications, that there is that low code to almost no code and how you're able to do it. And if we need to do a follow-up, we'll be happy to help with that. So
Hey, Minerva, we have a hand up. Star, do you got your hand up?
I didn't mean to, sorry.
Okay, all right, no problem.
All right, so just to get started, I have 2 different demo tenants open. The one that I'm showing you currently, this is the end user. This is somebody who is not a manager, or who is an owner of a Teams. And then I have one that is an owner of a Teams, just so that you're able to look at the difference. So right here, I have Johanna. And the first way that I want us to go look is we're going to go right over to the left in the navigation bar and go to our chat. I think sometimes people forget how easy it is that we can send more, extended messages within our chats. And this is that great thing about it. So I'm just going to go to my chat that I have with Diego. And you can actually see that I already sent a message to Diego with an approval. It's as simple as me being able to do it. So when you want to do this and you're just trying to get an add for approval, this is just a scenario I did about a budget for a project that's coming up. When you go to the bottom of your chat and you see all of your actions, you can actually go to those 3 dots, the ellipses. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. I can go find approvals. And then once it opens it up, it's going to give me those options. So these are the same options if you go into your navigation when we go into the hub that you'll see. So I can do a new request straight from here, or you'll see that I have a second option so I can look at templates. Maybe there's already some options that are even made for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll just do this, request time off. And I can go ahead and just name this. So I'm just going to say Johanna, RTO. It's going to let me know who my approvals are. And this is already set up for me. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to say other. And send. So now this is going to send that to Diego. And again, what I love about this is that when you send a message within your chat, you're going to get that red indicator. So it's a great way for you to open this almost immediately. Now, before I leave here, I do just want you to see that this right here, this is our card. This is our approval card right here. So I can come and click on this view details. And from here, it's going to show all of that information that I just saw, but I can actually see any of the statuses. So if this ends up being moved to somebody else, if this is approved, or if this is denied, all of that's going to be here. If I also maybe want to go ahead and cancel this, I can do that right from here from my chat. And if maybe I want to just send a reminder because I haven't heard anything yet, I can just do a follow-up, and that's going to send another notification to the approvers. So I'm just going to go ahead and click out of that. Now, let me just minimize this. And now we're going to go into Diego. So in Diego, he's going to be our team owner. Now I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side of my navigation bar. You can see that there's that red indicator. That's the one that came through from Johanna. When I click on this, that was the first message, and there it is. So again, here's that approval card. I have my options. If I wanted to leave any comments, maybe ask her, like, can you give me a little bit more details? What voting is this for? Even though we can't ask those questions, but we can just start to ask a little bit more. If it's a certain project, maybe if something about a device and we just need some more, like, what's the serial number? What are the specs? We can put that in here. And again, if I just want to go and approve this, I can click reject. And if I just want to go look at those details, again, to look at any of the status that has been following it, this is where I can go and get some of that information. And again, this is all coming right from your chats. Now, since I maybe I don't oversee Johanna and her time card and, any of the projects, and I'm not really sure, and I want to maybe reassign this, I can just do that from here and add one other person. So Johanna doesn't need to do anything. Me as an approver can go ahead and add somebody. And again, this is all coming from our chats. So
Minerva, there was a question. Can only the one who created the request cancel the request, or can anyone cancel the request?
She's going to be the only one. The one who creates it is the only one who's able to cancel it.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, and that's a great question, because right now we are in a single chat with that one-to-one chat. So unless I start to add more people and reassign it, then right now it's either myself or just being rejected from the approval people. Great
Excellent.
Question.
And another question is, can the field names in the approval be modified?
Are we looking at just like the generic day, time? What is this for? I'm going to assume that's probably what it is. Maybe created just like from scratch.
Yes, that's what Roxy's asking about.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, and I'm going to go show you that right now. So
Excellent.
This right
Thanks,
here,
Roxy.
I was just going from a template that was already made. And then what we can do, let's go back into that approval, right? And I'll just show you what that's going to look like from our chat. Because remember, we had those two options. So I do have like a simple option here that I can just fill this, which is going to say, what is the name of it? Who are my approvals? And again, that's adding it another individual to this, and then just giving my information. And you can add a file. So again, let's say if this was my project A and I was looking at budgets of saying, I need $10,000. Let me show you my business plan and everything that's needed. All of the information is going to be there. So again, when we think about having all the data provided and being able to see a streamline, this is what's going to help us to stay organized. So now let me just close out of that, and let's go to our navigation bar, and we're going to go to the approval. So again, if you don't have it, go to those three dots, your ellipses. You can go find your app. Since I already added it, it's here. But one thing that I will say, any of the apps that mean a lot to you and that you utilize a lot, you're going to want to go ahead and pin it. So all you have to do is right click. I've already pinned this, so my only option is unpin, but I went ahead and pinned this because again, if you open it up, move to a different app, it's going to disappear. So I always like to keep this pinned.
And so
So-
there was a question about, so you may not be seeing this. So if you're jumping over into out of this meeting window and over into your Teams client, and you're wanting to open this up and look at it, it may not be there. And so one of our customers said, when will this be added to our agency? So that is something where you would want to reach out to your IT team that manages Office 365 and ask them about it. If they need more information, they are more than welcome to reach out to me, and we can dig in and talk about the governance around this and all of the other things that come into play when we're talking about using a capability inside your organization.
Yeah, and I think that's a great, because they might not have it enabled yet. It's something that is simple for you to go ahead for them to enable it. And I think, to prepare for that conversation, think about use case scenarios that currently are happening within your agency that can really help explain of how this app will help us. If it's not just a department, if it's statewide, citywide, anything like that, have those use cases ready to go ahead and help you with your ask. So, all right, we'll go ahead. So again, I'm in my approvals app within my navigation bar. So this is that other way that we're able to ask. So in here, this is my hub. You'll see that I have approvals. Once more options becomes available for GCC, and my tenant is GCC, you'll see some other options like, Michael was just talking about like Adobe, signature. Once those get released, you'll start to see all of those here. Now we'll go over this page a little bit. So you'll see at the top, I can see everything that I've received. So if these are requests, I can also see anything that I've sent out to individuals that are going to be at the top. And then moving forward, again, you can filter through to sort of go through things. One thing that I do want to point out right here in the middle, you can see that this is on Contoso. This is my defaults, and this is where I'll stay today. But since I'm an owner of a Teams, those will show up here. Because again, I'm only going to be able to see all of the other requests for that Teams, not just myself. So these are all the ones that are coming through from other individuals. So again, not everybody is going to be able to make templates that are going to be org-wide or for specific teams unless you're the actual owner. Everybody can send an approval, but you're not going to be able to make those templates and be an approver for that org-wide. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, and Minerva, are those made inside of like the Office 365 admin console, or is it just made like when you're a team owner, you can make them inside of the team?
Yes, so that's when you're a team owner. So great question, let's go there. So within my teams, I'm just going to click on this. And remember, your Teams is going to be the one that's going to have that logo that's on it. So these are all of the different teams. If I want to manage this team and maybe add somebody so that they can actually be part of an approval, I can go to the three dots, the ellipses, go to Manage Team. And here I can go and add members. So I did go ahead and, remove Johanna from things, or Diego. And if I'm an owner, I'm able to do this. So let me actually go to one that I am one. Let's go to the safety. I'm gonna go to Manage Teams. So I'm Diego. I'm gonna go to my member. And let's say that I want Johanna to actually be an owner. Now that she's an owner, she's going to have that option to be able to see everything and create for that specific teams. So again, if someone is saying that they're not able to see it, they're not able to create it, the first thing you want to look at is if they're going to be, if they're a Teams owner. Great question. All right, so let's go back to our approval. And we're going to look how we can actually create. So if I go right here to the bottom, I have create and manage templates. So once I click on this, I can see some that have already been created. And here I can see that this is org-wide. And if I click on it, I can also go see if they're specific, and these are the different teams that I'm part of. So again, just a great way for you to really filter through, making approvals that are going to be either department, if it's going to be org-wide, and having a sense of purpose to it. So we're going to go right now into new templates. So when I click on this, we can see all of the different options right now that we have available that have been started for us. These are some great options. The only thing I'm going to say, let's go to this leave for request. You're not able to go and filter too much inside of here and being able to customize and change stuff. You can add things, but you're not going to be able to go ahead and change something that you want different on here. So I just went to next. I'm just going to say that this is going to be org-wide, and it's going to filter me through what I want. So again, here's the leave. I'm going to say what category is this, which is already on attendance. I'm going to go right to the top right and hit next. And from here, I'm doing it for the first time. Let's see. Okay, I apologize, but here, it's going to go through the templates. My demo's messing up a little bit, but it's going to just ask you to add any more information if you want. But if there's something there that you don't, you can't get rid of it. So now what I'm going to do, we're going to go and exit out of this because I just wanted to get started so you can see what that looks like.
Yeah, so that's when you're going with one of the templates that's already there and you're wanting to add that in, but instead of creating one custom, you're starting with one of the templates. And that's why it's kind of limited. Is that right, Minerva?
Yes, that is correct. So I was
Okay,
going to
perfect.
go and see if I can go on one of these and see if it works. So this is one that I've already did from one of the templates. And I can go, let me see if I can go into the form. Yeah, it's not doing it for me. I apologize, everybody, but you can go in here and edit any of those templates. And again, anything that's part of the original template, you're not able to get rid of that field, but you can add additional fields. Okay, so we're just going to go, let's go look at a new template. And at the very bottom, this is where we can create from scratch. So again, really being able to customize it to what you want it to be. So this is everything that we just saw. So I can go ahead and say, you know, add a template name. Let's add this audit. I'm going to say that the category is just other or order management. And if you want to put a description here, you're able to do so. We'll go to next. And of course, but you're able to, again, go in here and fill in different things. What questions you want? Do you want it to have a multiple choice? Is it required? And then one of the other options is that you're able to say if you want them to upload files, if it's required or not. And I really wanted to point that one out, but I'm not able to. And again, it just helps to keep all data in one place instead of having to do a separate email or a separate chat and send in these files. It can be all together in one. All right. So that was the way. And again, I apologize that my demo tenant went out on me right now. But you at least see that how you're able to go and create it here. If I want to do a new approval request, I can come up here. And again, this is what we saw Johanna do earlier. So if I want to do one for myself, I can do one. If I want to go ask somebody, if I want to go look at those templates, this is where I'm going to be able to do that as well. Now, the two last pieces that we have here. So remember, I am an owner. So I am probably going to have a lot more inside of my received. So I can see Johanna's added a request here. It's going to show that when it was created, who it was sent by, and also who it was sent to. So if there's multiple approvers, we're going to see who's on here. And sometimes if they click the box that they need everybody to approve, then we have to wait and sometimes do a follow-up. Or if they don't, then as long as one of us approves it, then it's going to go ahead and get approved automatically. So we'll go ahead and just go into this one. So again, here is that approval card that I can see that she's asking for the request. I can see, you know, that this is the timestamp, and I'm just going to say, enjoy your time off. And hit approve. So once I do this, Johanna is going to get a notification, one of those indicators that she has a new message that's going to come through. And we'll also see that this is going to get updated soon. You can also come over here, go to those three dots, the ellipses on the right, and this is where we can see more options. So maybe if I wanted to follow up, maybe it took 2 approvers for us to be part of, and maybe the second one I'm waiting for. Or if this is my own personal one that I've sent, this is where I can say, I want to follow up with you. And again, just looking at those different options. Now, if I go to sent up at the top again, these are going to be the ones that I've sent out. So you can see I approved, you know, this one right here that went to Diego. If I'm actually the one asking for something, this is a request I requested, and this is an old one that I did to my mod administrator. So if I hit those ellipses, I can say follow up. And this is going to send a notification to that individual that I need them to go and look at that approval because I need help on it. Perfect. I'll just pause there for a second. See if there's any questions.
So there's, let's see, can custom approval forms be promoted to public template?
That is a great question. I believe if you go in here, and it's not saying that it's going to be public, it's going to be to, so approvals is going to be for specific teams that you're going to allow for it to be in. Because remember, we're putting that in there. And then also saying if it's, I mean, it could be, it's org wide and you can put it, I'm sorry. When you do it org wide, that means it's going to be available for everyone. So when they open up that approvals, that template, then everyone's going to see the templates inside of here. If it's not an org wide and it's for a specific department, then you're only going to see the ones that are the templates that were created for you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So, and Roxy, I think you may be asking like, is it a public, like public facing, like customer facing? It is not customer facing. This is something you use inside of your organization. If you were looking to do something public facing, then I would use Microsoft Forms, and then you can have a Power Automate that when someone fills out a form, like let's say you have a constituent fill out a form and they're requesting, let's just say trash pickup, and then you could have, once that form is submitted, you could have it use Power Automate and automate that process. And part of that Power Automate could be sending an approval request to someone to approve this, maybe some, massive trash pickup. And then you could use the approvals there as part of the Power Automate and click OK. But you wouldn't have shown that approval request to the end constituent. You would have had that as part of a work process internal.
Yes, that's correct.
And then let's see, we've got some other questions here. Minerva, is now a good time, or do you want to?
Yeah, no, that's.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. How long does Teams maintain or keep the approvals?
They're going to stay inside of there. They're just going to keep adding to each other. I know that there has been feedback of ways for us to be able to delete old ones, but as of right now, we're not able to do that. They're just going to be stacking on top of each other. And that's why when you go and filter, you're able to see like the newest ones that you want to see first. Okay,
excellent. And so like if you had one that was you could just say, show me the ones that are open approvals.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so when a notification is sent, where is the notification sent? Is it in Outlook or in Teams? How does someone get notified?
Great question. So anything that comes from approvals, if you're sending a reminder to somebody, a new approval's coming in, something was approved or denied or needed more information, all of it, because again, this is a Teams app, is going to be within your activity. So there's that red indicator. And also if it was in that chat, I'm going to get it within the chat. So if I had to click on this chat right now, this was that one that I sent. If I go to activity, here are those ones that we did. So here's the one from Johanna. I can also look at, this is when I made her an owner, but it's all going to be sent into your activity. The other thing, if you are somebody that is you're needing to approve a lot of approvals, that's where it's a really best practice, again, to add it to your navigation bar. That way that you're able to just go in almost, on a daily basis, make it part of like your routine and look at what have you received. So you can go and clean that up. I know a lot of times too that individuals, I've had a couple of customers where they've made a channel that will be for approvals, and then they were keeping the request through the chats through the channel. But again, depending on what it's for, it might get a little messy. So again, you just want to sort of talk it out of how you want to do it, because you might have multiple ways of putting your approvals out right now. But again,
I'm sorry. The question that I had was when you were in the approvals and you noticed that you had an old one that was a requested one, and you hit notification so they can look at that approval. Where was that notification sent to?
it's going to go to their activity.
So it'll be in their activity.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Telling them to go back.
Mhm.
Okay.
They'll get that red indicator of that notification. So if they have the notifications on, they'll get that little bottom right purple box that comes up along with the red indicator, and it's going to be in your activity. And that's where you're going to be able to see all new information if someone is, doing a follow-up, if something was approved, something was denied, everything's going to be in your activity.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm also going to post into the chat, if you want to do an approval, but you also want to send it as an email in addition to sending it in Teams, there is with Power Automate, you can, as part of a flow, which is a kind of a workflow inside of Power Automate, you can add a step to take the content and put it as an email too. And so I did a quick Bing search on that. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best article, but this is an article on how you could do that.
Yes. And so that article, that's great that you put that in there. And what you want to do is go to office.com in your browser. From here, it's going to open up, it's going to work with your work credentials, open up in Microsoft, and then you're going to have that option to go to Power Automate. Once you go into Power Automate, there are some already pre-made templates, which templates I love again. And here, if I wanted to do an approval, here's my little task. If I wanted to search a template, I could do that, but I can just hit approval. And it's going to give me different ways working with different apps in different directions. So this is that one that Michael was just talking about, where if I create a SharePoint list, and I wanted to do a Teams, and I wanted to go into Outlook, this is the one that I'm going to be utilizing. So once you click on here, it's going to allow and tell you that it's going and getting all of the different connections needed. I can continue. And then you just have to go, it's already created the code. You just have to go and fill in what sources and individuals that you want it to use. So the templates, I would always say, look at those templates in your Power app, play around with it a little bit. But if you do understand it, you can go ahead and create one yourself if need. But there is a lot that's already here for you.
Excellent. Thank you. That was awesome to jump right in there and see that. Do you want me to ask you a couple more questions, Minerva, or do you want
Yes,
me to?
sure.
Okay. So both James and then also Richard had asked about, I've got multiple approvers, and is it possible to send them in a sequential order, or can I send it to multiple approvals? How does it work when you need more than one person in the process?
If you need more than one, so when you are creating one, and I need multiple individuals, so we'll just start looking at creating a new template. I'm just going to go from scratch. Let's do org wide. It's not going to allow for you to say, I need number 1 first, number 2 first, number 3. Let's just see if this lets me go in again. No, okay. But on this form design, when after this is going to allow for you to put in files. Then there's your workflow settings. This is where you're going to be adding who your approvals are. There's a box right underneath it that says either all need to approve or you just need one of them. We haven't created anything yet within just the templates piece or the scratch piece. That's probably going to be more of a Power Automate, where you're going to have to maybe add a couple more things of the sequence order of how it needs to be approved. But there is that option, either all the individuals that you list need to approve it before it's actually approved, or only one of them from the 3. If let's say, for example, you had 3 different names on there.
Yeah, Minerva, go to just not into the template designer, but just into one of those basic approvals.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll start a new one, whichever one that's already existing. Yeah, not using a template, but
Oh,
or not
using
making a template, but yeah, just making one.
I just did that.
Yeah, like Diego was making one earlier, or Johanna was making one.
Let me see if it lets me.
Yeah, don't add a new template. Just maybe go back to the team where you had, or the chat where you had created that approval that Johanna sent to Diego. Uh-huh. And my understanding is that when you create an approval, if you add more than one person as the approver, then it will ask you if you want them done in sequential order.
Let's see there. Let's go to click view. This is my approval cart. I can say follow up. It's not.
Yeah, can you make a new one here?
Yeah, let's go and do approval. So
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Double remembering who the other people are.
This is not liking me today.
What about
yeah, this is the only option that you have. And when you are creating it from scratch within your approval hub, that's the same option that you have.
Yeah, so you can, everybody has to approve, but it doesn't allow you to do the sequential order, Richard, in just approvals. You have to go into Power Automate to do that.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, great question.
And I think that could be great feedback too for us to like take back, which can be always a nice feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And Star, you're right. So out of the box, it works with multiple. It can do multiple approvals in parallel, but not in sequence, not in serial approval.
Yes. All right. I did see a question. I was just looking at my phone right now about what is enabled. So let's go back to my approval. I'm looking at my hub, and we're going to go to Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. I'm clicking and it's clicking opposite spots. I'm just going to stop sharing just for a second. Apologize about that. Let me just give my computer its.
So both approvals and Power Automate are things that are not enabled by default in a GCC tenant. And so if you're not seeing either of those, then you would want to work with your Office 365 administrators. And as Minerva said, create a business case for why you need this. And there may be some concerns around approvals about governance and keeping track of those. There's a good question about how long do those stay around, and they stay around forever. And so this is approvals is not what you use when you need like a digital signature. Now, next month, we're going to be, as I talked about, we're going to be talking about how DocuSign can be integrated right into Teams. And so if you need a true digital signature, then you can use DocuSign, and it has some really great integration right into Teams that's somewhat similar to this. But if you're just needing simpler approvals, you don't want to spend additional dollars, because with DocuSign or Adobe Sign, you have to have, you pay per use. And so this is something that's included with your O365 subscription, no additional costs. And it's powerful, but not as powerful as some of those solutions. And it's not a true, digital signature.
Okay, so I believe it's now clicking in the right spot. Can y'all see?
Yes.
Okay. Every time I kept clicking on the bottom, it was clicking at the top. Okay, I'm good now. So this right here, this is showing all of the different, for the org wide, these are all the templates that I've made either from scratch or have done from the templates that we had and maybe added some information. So I'll see my category, if there's a description, the last time that is updated. And here you'll see that says enabled and disabled. So this right here is saying that if it's enabled, when somebody goes to the templates for an approval, they're able to see client check-in as an option for them to click on. If it's disabled, there's no more option for this HR approval, so they won't see it. And you're able to do that from here, where I can edit this if I want. And when you click on it, again, you already saw that there was one way under the ellipses, but I can, if right now it's disabled, I can go ahead and enable this and save it. Just for
I wonder if it'll let you get into the form designer.
I was just trying, I might maybe a different way, might make it, but I can go ahead and just save from the top right. And then again, it's just saying, this is what that request will go ahead and look like. And now you can see that it is enabled, but I'm able to do that again right from here. And if I want to disable, I can disable it. And that's if you want people, because maybe it's just going to be an app that's, only for a limited time. It's not needed always. So you can go ahead and do this. Also, what's great about it, and when you start thinking about all the approvals you're going to be using, you might want to think about how can I change, if I need to edit this, will I be able to edit it in different ways so that I don't have to keep creating the wheel on it. So you don't have, 20, 30 different approvals that are going inside of here. You can just edit it. But yeah, so that's approvals right there for you. If you're new to it, let me just go ahead and put a little learn in here for y'all that you can go to. I know you're going to see yourself right now. But here are just some little quick ways for you to take a look at it.
Awesome.
Elisa?
Yes, I'm sorry. One more question.
No
Because
problem.
I'm trying to think how I can use Teams to better serve me. And so I have this big project, but I'm not the only one on the project. So when I'm using approvals, it's just for me as I send it through the process, correct?
Well, approvals can be used for everybody. Like if you do it org wide, or if you just want to do it for specific individuals. What is it you're trying to do with your projects?
Well, with this, what I'm saying is it's two project managers.
Okay,
So I would want that same person to be able to see what I send. So what I need to instead create a channel and send
yes.
it out through there so I can put multiple people on there. Or if I'm looking here where I am right now, this is only singular just for me. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
this is singular. So this is only
Okay,
going to be your hub. So when you think like your workspace, this is for you. If you
perfect.
do want it to be a group, but so everybody that's in this team right here, this C dot, I can create and I can add approvals to any of this. So, but everybody on this team, but it limits you to only this team.
Right. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect.
But you'll be
Thank
able to see everything here. So if you are a project manager and you have all these different ones with these different teams, that could be another great solution for you. You can either create a new channel just to keep it all in one place, but you're going to be able to do that add tab and you can go to an approval and add it.
okay. I appreciate that because I was thinking like with templates, every 2 years I have to get approval for it. And instead of sending emails where it can get bogged down, I could send it through this and then it's go straight to the approver and back and then I'm done.
Mm, yes. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, Star had asked, can an approval be tied into Planner? And I responded back, whoop, whoop. Yes. So there is the flow of the week back from, oh, this goes all the way back to 2017. That can't be right, but it seems to be, is how to use a flow such that when a task is completed, it creates a trigger to send an approval email to the PM. And so, yes, it does, Star, look like you are able to integrate that together, which is super cool.
And I think what's also great when you create a list from your SharePoint, you have a lot of different options at your top that can let you integrate other apps and create things right from there. So definitely look at those more options.
Yeah, that's a great point, Minerva. So this does do that. So SharePoint lists are so powerful, and y'all all know David Gottlieb, who's been on Text Teams community for a long time, and he had his Got Teams sessions that he has done for us in the past. He's really expert and has really dug into the power of using SharePoint as a back end to approvals, to integrating business processes, to surfacing up information into a Power BI. So there's so much that can be done when you think of a SharePoint list as a holding place for information, and then the ability to then update the status of one of those fields in that list. And then when that status changes, it can kick off an approval, it can kick off a flow, it can kick off all kinds of processes.
I was just going to go into one real quick. So when you create a list, here's that action bar that you're able to do. There's the automate. Again, we can go and create some rules. That's what's going to help you to do that piece. If we want to integrate it into an app, there I can take my list and immediately create a Power Automate right from here. And again, I know there's more with the approvals, but just showing you the power of what's built inside of here. And there's the
Well, and
alerts and
this
manage
is-
alerts.
And this is a GCC tenant that you're in. I see that Gov
Yes.
612-837. So we're not teasing you with some commercial sector feature that you're not going to have access to and going to get frustrated with this. Not that that's ever happened.
Great questions.
Yeah, love that.
Anything else? And again, I apologize that my demo tenant's not working 100% right now.
Yeah, that was great, and you handle it like a champ, Minerva. And it's always tough when things don't work quite right. I would love to certainly keep it open here for more questions. And if anybody is using approvals already, or if you are using Power Automate and flows, and you have an example that you'd like to share, I'd love to open it up to anyone that'd like to share something that they're doing inside their environment and for their agency using either approvals or Power Automates or flows, any of that. Star.
Yeah, I mean, I have something using Power Automate, but it's not using it integrated with Teams. So I don't know if that fits.
No, that's great.
I have
love
one
it.
that I'm trying to use with Teams from a GCC template, but it's not working. But that's probably my error. But no, I had created a flow in Power Automate. We have this export of some databases, this daily export that gets mailed to a shared mailbox, and I created a flow that will take those attachments from the shared mailbox, put them in SharePoint, and move the previous day's copy into a subfolder in the SharePoint library called Archive.
Oh, nice.
And then I got impatient about the on the Teams roadmap about the scheduler reply, and I found that there is a GCC template in Power Automate for scheduler reply, but it doesn't seem to. But the operator error. I could have set it up wrong.
You said it doesn't seem to be working.
It says that it's supposed to add it to the more actions on a message, but I don't see anything in more actions. So, yeah.
Yeah. If it's something that is causing you some heartburn, Star, welcome you to open up a trouble ticket, because it might be something that we could just surface up to one of our architects and just ask them. And we have a really strong team of people that can they can be like, oh yeah, that's broken, sorry, we're working on it. Or let me show you how to do that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's something that's already on the roadmap. So it was just me wanting to play Power Automate, getting impatient for a roadmap feature that wasn't here yet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the story of our lives. Unfortunately, I was looking at the roadmap and trying to guess: is it live? Is it not live? Does it work? Let's see. We've got a question here. Yeah, Esther was saying that's kind of what she's doing. Yep. Go ahead.
I was going to show if you wanted kind of an oversight of my.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to show the one that is working kind of oversight. If it will load, let's see. Because I can show it without showing anything proprietary or internal. I just want to expand the steps. Let's see. Sure. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Taking forever.
Thinking.
I'm so sorry about this.
No, that's okay. Well, I'll while we're waiting on that to load up, there's some
If
great
anybody
examples.
else wants to share anything, feel free to
Yeah, let's let that keep
free to
loading. So
jump
Stephanie
in.
was talking about, they support their contract and grants team. They have a sequential approval for invoices based on dollar amount, and then first to approval process for scheduling annual reviews of contractors, and then also to review contract applications between finance and contract teams. And they do all that within Power Automate, not necessarily not inside of Teams. And so, you can. One of the ways that we've seen to surface this up into Teams is by using adaptive cards. And so having those adaptive cards pop inside of Teams so that it requests, do you want to approve this? And you can send an adaptive card right from Power Automate. And then you can have it have just like 2 buttons, approve or decline, or more information, or you could take it to the actual, let's say it's based on an invoice, and take them right to the invoice. There's a lot of flexibility, but you don't necessarily have to do it inside of Teams. And then the other thing is when you have a process that happens a lot, a very like maybe people are sending in PDFs, whether it's via email or they're uploading them. Then you can actually use some of the Power Platform capabilities with a thing called the AI Builder, where you can actually and SharePoint Syntex can do this also, or Microsoft Syntex, where when a document arrives, the document can actually be read, and we train the model so that it knows what these documents are. And it doesn't have to be just a single form. It can be like a wide variety of different kind of invoices or different payments. And it'll read it. It'll pull the information that you need. It'll show it to someone. Like if it's, let's just say it's an invoice for more than $1,000 and it goes to this person, but if it's more than $10,000 and it goes to this person. And you can integrate and automate all of that as part of using the AI Builder and using Power Automate and using flows. And then, as I said, you can surface it right up in Teams. And what it'll even do is it'll read the invoice and it'll say, okay, well, it's $10,000 and it's from this vendor. And these are the terms. And it can put all of that into an adaptive card and surface it up in Teams and ping the person who needs to approve it. Or it can even go to a channel. So if there's a whole group of people in like the invoicing or purchasing department that have to look at that, then it doesn't necessarily have to just be to one person. But it's really, it's like these building block services that can be combined together to be able to really streamline these business process flows. And I just love that. Oh, y'all are okay. You're experimenting with AI Builder now. That's awesome. Okay, good. And that's exactly what I'm saying. All right,
I'm going to stop sharing in a minute, but this is like, but anyway, the first step, it triggers on an email that meets certain parameters for subject line and sender and things like that. There's not a action in the SharePoint connector for move. So instead, you have to look at the existing files in SharePoint and sort of make a copy that you put in the location, since you can't move it, and then delete the original. And then down here, it goes and gets the email attachments from the email up here, and then copies them to SharePoint, and then moves the email to deleted items. So
nice. And
it's not fancy, but it was my first flow ever.
You're
so
doing in SharePoint with that? Why is it that you want that to be there and then you want it to be moved to archive the next day? What's kind of the business reason behind that?
So
it's like a daily thing.
It's a daily export. Yeah, it's a daily export, and they want to preserve the previous days in case they need to go back and check them. But they only want, but the additional ones are in a subfolder in the library called archive. In the top level of that library is where they want the most current one to be.
Yeah, that's great.
I need to move, whatever the previous day's one is into the archive before I copy the new one over.
That's
And
super
the
cool.
create is not only just basically copying this one, but changes the file name to append the date to it, so that in the new location, instead of being called, tulip export, it's called tulip export _ 0209/2023 or whatever, when it's copied into the archive folder, and then the new one just goes in with the default name.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. James is giving an example.
I'm glad you like it. Okay, that makes me feel better about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's just, and that was what I was talking about when I had the little images, because as I used Dolly to create those images. And so if you're not familiar with Dolly, it's part of OpenAI. And if you haven't heard about OpenAI yet, OpenAI is the one that Microsoft invested in, and it's really partnering with us around ChatGPT. And Dolly allows you to type a sentence, and it will create an image. And so I wanted my images to be diverse. And so I said, I want a person of color jumping over a stack of paperwork. And then I said, I want a I used Supergirl because I didn't know if it would know Superwoman, like, Superman. And so I said, Supergirl lifting up a building. And so in each of those, it created the image from scratch for me. And then I was able to just download those for free and put them right into my PowerPoint. And so sorry, I kind of distracted myself. But the reason I was thinking about through these things was I was thinking about, okay, what is it that our community is doing? And the fact that these things used to be like manual processes. This was like or maybe even a paper-based process. And now you're creating these automations and you're simplifying it because it's not in some file server where there's 1,000 files in there and you've got to look for the one you need for today. It's right there. And if you need to go back and you need to see one of the previous ones, then it's in this archives folder. And it's just, it's quote simple, but it takes someone to think about, how can I make this better? And that's like that thing is it's just that curiosity to always be thinking about, how can I improve this? And how can I use the tools that I have in these building block features and services to simplify the process? And I'm really, again, I'm just brokenhearted about our CST training going away, but there's some really great training online. And then if you're not familiar with it, there is a training that's available. I'm not sure if Kathy is still on the call with us. I saw her on here earlier. We have a training portal that is called ESI. It's the Enterprise Skills Initiative. Yeah, there she is. And so the ESI is a training portal that y'all can go into and get all kinds of technical training. And Kathy, I saw you come off mute. Do you mind saying something about ESI?
Sure, not a problem. Thanks, Michael. So yes, ESI is open to the state of Texas agencies, and it is certification training for your employees. And I believe Justin Rohn, who most of you may not know, he actually sends out that information to each of the agencies on a monthly basis. But if you don't have it and you want it, just put some comments in that you're looking for ESI information, and I'll be happy to forward you the information. But it's available for you to go out to that portal, as Michael mentioned. You're on your own and sign up for any of that certification training that you choose.
Here, I'm gonna share my screen, and let's see. I'm gonna bring portal up. I've been getting this too many requests today. Of course, I got a gazillion things open. But if you, it's esi.microsoft.com, and you just go to the sign in, and again, I'm getting a sign in error, but it's the Enterprise Skills Initiative. And as Kathy said, this is open to all of y'all. So this is another place where you can go that has really fantastic training. It can also be training that leads to certifications. It's one of the ways that through our partnership with the state of Texas, we're enabling, y'all, the employees of the agencies to be able to get certifications. So it can help with performance reviews and help with your marketability to either other agencies or to just really help your agency be more effective, like some of the examples that we're hearing about. I saw a question.
Michael, I was able to get it up. Do you want me? I mean, I could just
Oh, do you have
share
it?
with. Mhm.
Yeah, perfect. That'd be great. Thank you. Let me stop sharing. There we go.
So this is it. So yeah, Microsoft Learns. We have our virtual training days, delivery courses. I can look at certifications. Yeah.
And then one of the things that you can do is it might be under settings. You can put what your role is. And so there it is, role. So if you're a business user and you put in business user, it's going to be more like business user focused training for things that you can do. But if you're, a data engineer, an analyst, or an AI engineer, I mean, there is a lot of really deep technical training. Or if you're a business user and you don't want that super deep training, but you want to be able to understand how to do some of these automations, then that would be, you might want to pick like a business user. And so, networking engineering, security engineer, like all kinds of good stuff in here. And someone, let me go back to the chat. I saw a question. If you don't put a role, will it show everything? It asks you to put a role, so I'm not sure. Do you know, Minerva, if you can you not put a role?
Let me see. No, it requires a role. It is
does require a
requiring
role.
one.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So Marie, those images, are they subject to copyright or attribution? And the answer is no, because they are custom works of art based on your query, which makes it really interesting. And so I'll show you how this works. It's a really interesting way to create content. And so here, this is Dolly. And if you go to openai.com / I'll put this in the chat. And you'll have to log in. Now, this is a free service and it does get overwhelmed because it's, I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but ChatGPT and these things that OpenAI are creating it is the fastest adoption of technology in the history of man, like faster than Facebook and faster than Snapchat and all these kinds of things. And so all you do is you put in just natural language. One of the images I was going to do was Superman lifting a group of people over his head. And so these are images that it created, and these are again all custom images. Now, if you look, they're like a little weird, sort of like they mask the faces. So I guess that way it's not some person's face that you recognize. And then, but I think one of the reasons that it doesn't have any kind of copyright and you don't have to pay the model fees and things is that it does change it and distort it, so it's not a particular person. But and then what it does is it keeps a log of all of your the images you've created, like Superman cutting red tape. And then I did this is the one that I said Supergirl lifting a building, and I accidentally left his head, and so it didn't change it to her head, but it knew what I meant. And so these are the 4 images it came back with. And then you just click the one you want, and you just say download. And you can even it's really kind of cool. You can edit the image, and so you can add, like, I want more of the building. And so I don't know how to do this. Okay, I think you just click generate. And so what it'll do is you can just add additional portions to the image, and it'll do that for you if you don't particularly like the framing. And you can even say, add a pink flamingo over here. And so it's not just a one and done. You can keep iterating on it. So very, very interesting technology. And if you haven't heard, we are integrating ChatGPT and these AI capabilities we made a big announcement on Tuesday that we're integrating them into the Bing search engine and into Edge browser. And the things that you're going to be able to do with that, and y'all probably heard about this, where you can ask it a question like, give me a menu for 6 people that is vegan, and it'll give you a menu. And then you say, okay, now give me the shopping list for that. Okay, and then you could say, but I want to make it keto. And so it'll change it to make it keto. And so it's this interactive chat. And so what we're doing is we're integrating all of that into your search. So instead of searching and getting 1,000 links, you're going to actually get the answer, and then you can keep chatting and inquiring and adding additional content to it. So super interesting. In it, that these are things that are evolving literally as we speak. So it's going to be we're going to be integrating that kind of technology into PowerPoint and Word and Teams. So again, it's going to get very interesting, as I said. Well, are there any other questions that anybody has? Okay. Yeah, the extra fingers thing. I know it was like when you zoom in, it's a little freaky. But just don't zoom in too far. Okay. And so Brenda, I saw that you said you'd like information about ESI. So there's a link to ESI right there that Minerva put in, and you can go to that link. If you don't have access to it when you try to log into it, Kathy, does everybody have access to it? I know that the state of Texas does, but what about, like, we have customers here from cities and counties and higher ed and educational customers?
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have access, reach out to me and I can redirect you to the appropriate ESI team, and they can make sure that you get set up appropriately. And for those that have requested information, I have forwarded you the latest January and go forward in 60-day plan of training that we've provided out to agencies into the state. So feel free to use that. And again, if there's anybody else from the call who would like that, just drop your email in the chat and I'll be happy to send that your way.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Well, we are at the bottom of the hour. And again, I want to thank Minerva. She so totally bailed me out today. I really, really appreciate you coming in and doing such an amazing job on such short notice and helping us understand approvals and how it can integrate. And so you're just a champ, and I really appreciate you. So thank you very much. And yeah, thanks for the applause. You deserve it, Minerva. Great job. So and Kathy, thanks for supplying the information, and thanks to everybody in the community for the great questions, and thanks for sharing your examples. I love the sharing of examples, and I look forward to visiting with y'all next month on the community call. And I will be following up with those of you who put in that you are interested in learning pathways, and let's get that implemented in your environment and get it pinned to Teams so you can get the benefit from that. Y'all have a fantastic evening and a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.